And I won't stop until I start to stand out.
All right, everybody, welcome back to LorcanaCast, the happiest podcast on earth, and we are here on the official launch weekend of Lorcana. It's official, everybody. You can buy Lorcana at your friendly local game store, Target, Walmart, FYE. I don't even know if those exist anymore. GameStop, Barnes & Noble, Quick Trip gas station. Pretty much anywhere that people sell things and stuff, you can buy trading card games with Disney on it. So welcome, everyone. We're going to have a great show. We've got our regular team of Skeffman. How you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. How you doing today?
I mean, we're doing good. We're doing good. We're here.
A little delay.
We've got Chris. How you
doing?
Up? What's up, man?
Awesome.
And we've got a guest here, Mr. Greg. How are you, my man?
How's it going, everyone? I was picked up off the street. We're here now. We're live.
That's not how that worked.
That's exactly. You found a guy on the street that said it would be good for the show.
Run and gun interviews, right?
That's.
Are there any homeless Disney characters? Oh, the Tramp. You like the Tramp?
Yeah, there's a ton of homeless Disney characters.
They had a whole movie about dogs that were homeless.
Yeah, there's a Tramp. Yeah.
No, the other dog movie,
Oliver and Company.
Yeah, that one.
Oh,
they're all homeless.
Yeah.
In fact, there's several Disney dog movies.
Yeah,
several.
It's all dogs.
Homeward Bound. They were homeless for a little bit.
They're
not really homeless.
They were.
Yeah, they're
they're
homeless because they were lost.
Oh my god!
You can't be homeless and lost because you're
you
lost.
You can be both at the same time.
Brave Little Toaster was homeless. Going to the deep cut here.
Yeah, he was. Brave Little Toaster was homeless and lost.
He was lost and homeless. Yeah.
Okay.
But then he found a home and he was no longer lost.
Welcome, Greg.
Does Stitch count as being homeless?
We don't talk about anything important.
Anyways, with all this ridiculousness coming out of Skeff and Thingamabobs, let's talk about Lorcana at launch. So everyone's been playing decks. So tell us a little bit about what your favorite colors have been, what some of your favorite cards have been. What have you been playing since Lorcana's out now?
I'll start. So as most of you guys know, I've been really excited about this game, mostly because my daughter's 9 years old and she likes Disney. So we start with starter decks. We played like 2 or 3 times, my wife and her, with starter decks. It went pretty well. She was getting into it, and she asked me to make her a Stitch deck. So I made I don't deck build, so I found a deck online that was amber and steel. It has Stitch in it. It upgrades the base Stitch, the one cost Stitch into Stitch Rockstar to play like a lot of low cost cards, to draw cards, and then the control packages have a big tink in there to help you close the game out. But it actually plays pretty well. I mean, I would classify it as like a rush deck, like low cost spam weenie deck, and she hasn't played it with it yet, but I'm excited to have her play this weekend with it. So and I've also made a Ruby Emerald deck, the normal control deck, and I made a green blue deck. So those are the 3 decks we've been playing with the most.
Perfect. I guess I'll lead that off after that. Personally, I'm really liking Emerald and Amber. I think that color pair is going to be one that you see online quite a bit, but just lots of great cards. Of course, the early curve with Flynn Rider, Cheshire Cat is really fun. But also, like, just in time with, like, any of the Premiere, like, Emerald 5 costs is just incredibly great. Mad Hatter kind of eliminating that downside of, losing the card in hand with just in time. Just, like, in the typical scenario, you're going to get that card back. At some point, you're going to be getting a lot of lore while you're doing it. So those are my favorite colors right now, and that's really just the deck I'm trying to go for at the moment.
I will say that I played against that deck today, and it was doing great work, very fast on lore seeking. But if it misses out on those drops, like if it gets stuck with a lot of just in times or a lot of like most decks, I mean they're not equal, right?
Stuck with
or if you just don't have a good 5 cost to just in time, right? So I thought we were trying to like, what's the downside of just in time? Well, the downside is you may not have a 5 cost.
It's a 2 card combo.
Right.
You need to have it.
Card combo, right? So,
but in any case, yeah, those 2 colors are really great, and I just love the pure amount of selection. There's a lot of good card quality, and I feel like you can modify any deck by like 15, 20 cards, and it would, it's still in the color combos, but it's still doing just fine with different modifications, things like that.
I'm gonna go with I still really enjoy, from the very beginning. I've always still enjoyed the Steel and Amethyst, which I still enjoy playing. That kind of like just draw with the brooms and then removal with the Steel with the Tinkerbell widespread, and then I grew really fond of this really random, not random, I guess, but the like the evasive and control with the Ruby and Emerald deck, where you just a bunch of evasive creatures and then just like all removal with all the Ruby cards. But it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
That is a fun deck.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So in single player, I've been jamming on that Belsa ramp we talked about on YouTube, which is blue purple, so sapphire amethyst. So you just ramp like crazy, and then you can get major cards out like Ursula on turn 4 or on turn 5. You can get Mufasa. You can get the 3/6 Maleficent Uninvited or Chief Tui. You get all these bodies that have 3 lore, like super duper fast, and then you can just keep your handful of cards with. You can use Ursula's Cauldron to filter. So you exert the item, you look at the top 2 cards, put one on the top of your deck, one on the bottom. So it's great for controlling your ramp abilities with like Detective Mickey and One Jump Ahead. So you put the worst of the 2 cards into your Inkwell, and then you can draw cards with Sorcerer Maleficent. You can get cards with Ursula, as well as friends on the other side. So you also have a couple of magic mirrors in there because you have so much ink. You can easily pay for 4 to draw a card. You've also got the Queen just in case. So it's just really fun. The deck loses to ramp, like ramped out aggro, super bad. Like if they go wide, you're probably toast. Your bodies are bigger and your lore is bigger. But if they have 3 bodies that quest for 6, you have like 1 body that quests for 3. You just lose the game. So it's really cool to see like this deck is very powerful, but it also has good and bad matchups. And then in multiplayer, I've been playing this whole new world.
Discard?
So yeah, I've been playing Steel Amethyst. So you just don't really establish a board. You don't really do anything. Everyone's questing and beating up on each other. And then you start looping Whole New World over and over and over and over and over.
Oh my God.
And everybody runs out of gas.
The politics side of that sounds pretty fun because you can start saying like when you'll cast it and be like, all right, if you start beating up these other guys, I'll give you 7 new cards in the following turn.
So it's really funny because you just don't really have a board, so nobody really messes with you. You're just like slowly building up your Inkwell, and then on turn 5, it's like everybody draw 7.
Is this the one that plays Broom to like get back your whole new world?
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah, so you just play a Broom and put it back into your deck, and then you use Ursula's Cauldron to filter, and you use Friends on the Other Side to draw, and that's like, oh hey, another Whole New World. And you have the Queen in your deck, so if you don't have New World, you can exert her to draw because nobody's going to attack you. You're at like 0 lore, and then it's like, oh hey, I found it, and it comes back to your turn like, cool, everyone just ditch your hand, draw 7 again, like.
Strong stuff.
It's really fun. It's really annoying. It does win, but it's a really awkward win because you just don't quest. You just mess with people.
Exactly. When you first mentioned multiplayer, I thought you were going to talk about the discard stuff with You Have Forgotten Me, which that card is already pretty good on rate in single player because, it's 2 for 1, which is always great in card games. But in multiplayer, that quickly scales to one of the best cards in any rate I've ever seen in any card game, which is a 6 for 1 trade. Right. Just pure advantage. It's ridiculous.
That is the other multiplayer deck I've been playing, and people get really flustered because, again, I'll just let them quest and kill each other, or challenge each other, and banish characters. I'm casually just here's like a Simba bodyguard, and here's a Goofy bodyguard. I'll quest for 1. They're like, oh yeah, Sugi's at 2.
Oh, whatever. He's at
like,
game.
Yeah, and I'm like, double Mother Gothel. And they're like, what? Yep, Mother Gothel. Also, I quest, and you have to get through all these bodies, and you can't do anything until, oh no, you've lost the game. Oh, and then of course, you're sitting on like Cheshire Cat, Mad Hatter, all kinds of really annoying little doodads, and you just let everyone get to like 15 lore and punch each other in the face, and then you just start slowly playing the Mother Gothels and questing, and no one can stop you. And then
Mother Gothel locks out everyone in multiplayer, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
No one can quest as long as she's alive. And then you're playing You Have Forgotten Me, so people every opponent has to discard 2 cards, or Sudden Chill, everyone has to discard 1
it just
card.
makes you the enemy of. Everybody just hates you then. It's not gonna. You're not gonna last.
Oh yeah, no, I've won twice with it. It's great.
Come public enemy number one.
So the first time I did it, nobody expected it. The second time, everyone's like, okay, we got to get him. I'm like, I'm just not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit and watch. And it really annoys people because you draw, play an ink, pass. So there's nothing to do. Like, they can't do anything to your characters. They can't get rid of any items. You just have a zero board. So they have to start messing with other people. And then you start to establish slowly. And your board is so bad and you're at 0 lore. Everyone's like, it's not worth attacking. And then you set up like a double Maximus Gothel wall. And you're like, uh-oh, wait a minute. That's not good.
So
it's a slow roll.
For the group, now that we play more games, we're like building more decks and getting real games in. Do you think that there's any decks that don't have a draw engine of some type? Just because card draw is so tough in the game.
Yes.
Like, so what? Like talking about
there's a bunch out there that don't really have card draw designated.
Evasive decks have like no draw.
Like the Ruby Emerald deck doesn't really have card draw in it.
Yeah, because you don't run Hatter.
Yeah, no Hatter in there.
There's like very few premium draw cards in the entire game.
Right.
It's like we got Friends, Whole New World, and then the rest are like, like the 3-drop.
Well, I mean,
Rapunzel. Stitch Rockstar counts.
Stitch Rockstar counts. Rapunzel counts.
Rapunzel works well in like bodyguard decks, but she doesn't work well in aggro decks. You're too small.
Right.
That being said, there's like less than 10 cards in the game that allow you to draw, which is pretty low. Probably about what I expected. Just like a value-based thing.
Ursula refreshes. So in multiplayer, she draws. In single player, she just replaces.
It's just like I'm prioritizing decks that have some type of draw engine because I hate top decking.
I guess we should clarify. Are you talking about like netting +1 or like just drawing a card?
I guess either way. I mean, I'm more talking about netting, but I mean, I dislike having to be stuck in a position of top decking, right? Like that doesn't feel great to me. Which I know there's a lot of, especially this first deck, there's a lot of top decking, right? Especially when you're doing starters, whatever else. It just feels like you run out of steam so fast. So I've been prioritizing decks that have some way to get card draw.
Yeah. So your only cards that net you are New World and Friends on the Other Side. Everything else is a replacement.
Well, like Beast Mirror and the Magic Mirror.
Yeah, well, I should clarify. There's a couple cards that can net you cards if they survive. So like the Queen, if she exerts herself twice, gets you a +1.
Or 15 times or 20.
Mirror is the same thing. Like you could net 1 if you do it twice. Same thing with Magic Mirror. You could net 1 if you do it twice. But the thing is, like, you have to have the ink to do it, and your opponent doesn't blow up the item, and you didn't play something else instead of drawing the card. So, like, the only cards that naturally get you an actual net value, again, are Friends on the Other Side.
I'm not talking about the sense of it has a net you want immediately. It's just giving you out to get more cards over the course of the game is where I'm at. I need something like that.
There's some. So most of them are in purple or steel because you've got Magic Mirror in Amethyst, Queen in Amethyst, New World.
You're sleeping on a Rockstar, man. Rockstar draws me a ton of cards. If you build a deck around it, obviously.
Yeah, he draws a ton of cards, but also they come in exerted, so they're very vulnerable.
Right, but I don't care. I mean, like it's a spam deck, right? So they're doing something to come in. If they survive, if they don't get put to the sword, then.
Well, the other thing is you could hit something that's not a 1 or 2 drop, and it's like, oh, cool, dead draw. Like,
the change just stops at some point. But well, we're on the topic of card draw. I feel like VIP Spotlight goes to the Maleficent 3 ink 2/2 that draws you a card in conjunction with Friends on the Other Side.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, obviously a 2/2 for 1 lore is not very great on rate. So just being able to like use that card to fuel more card draw is really great. I anticipate that being used in Amethyst decks even beyond this first set. I just think like basically every Amethyst deck I've seen has 4 copies of that Maleficent and then 4 copies of Friends on the Other Side. Like that engine's really great, and part of the reason why I think Amethyst is so great right now.
Is it weird that it's the Maleficent that does it, and like you pair it with Maleficent and not the Doctor Facilier card that actually costs 3 with the ability?
Yeah,
it's just weird how they worded that card where it's like.
I feel like it could have been a missed opportunity for like Maleficent to do what Dr. Facilier does, and Facilier to be the one that draws.
I think they didn't want it to be so easy for you to rep into big Facilier, right? The 7 cost 1. I don't think they. I mean,
that's probably
that would have made just a clear ramp to that. I will also say, playing some purple lately, Amethyst, that Ursula's what is it called? Cauldron is actually really good too.
Yeah,
That's
it's
really,
really
I think that card slept on totally.
really good card.
I am so
That card's
high on that
great.
card right now.
It is.
I'm in the new
For
world.
people that don't
clouds of that
know, I
card.
mean, it lets you look. It's an item that lets you look at top two, right? Put one on top, bottom.
Cost 4.
It's a 2-cost non-inkable item. You can exert it immediately to look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one on top, one on the bottom. That is like such a good way to get out of top decking because you get to look at 2 and pick one. And that's what I was saying in that Belsa ramp. You get to look at 2, put one on top, and then you can play your Detective Mickey and get rid of a card you don't need or don't want, or it's uninkable. And, boom, you've got a card in your inkwell. That's good. You got rid of a card you don't need. That's good. And then you're digging deeper into your deck to find what you do need. That's also good. And it's having 2 Ursula's Cauldron on the board is really fun because you look at 2, put one on top, one on bottom, and do it again, and you look at the top 2. So you essentially see 3 cards and put the best on the top of your deck. Super good.
And it's even, I mean,
I'm so high on that card. It's really, really. Every time I play it in locals, people are like,
"What are you doing?"
That is really unfair how consistent your deck is because I'm always drawing into what I need, and they're like, "I'm top decking, and you're just getting exactly what you want." I'm like, "That's why."
How many times do you need to know that your next card's inkable, right? Like how many? Like that just saves you so many times of like not having to worry about the game's over if I can't hit my curve, right? When you're in that top deck mode, so like that's just it's so powerful to make sure you're going to smooth out your inks too.
Well, there's times it's like I need Ursula because I need to steal, like I need them to lose a lore, or I need Elsa because I need to exert 2 of their characters, or I need a cheap body right now, so I need Mufasa or Maleficent or something, so being able to look at cards and put what I want on the top is just so good for the sake of consistency. It's amazing. It's great. It's super, super good. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the money market. So we did this on our last episode with me and Skeff. We kind of fell off the boat because Chris wasn't here to guide us. And we were supposed to talk about Gen Con, and we just started talking about money and
lost at sea.
Oh yeah, we were totally boned. So Skeff man, why don't you talk a little bit about the secondary market? What do you think? Since we talked, what was it, about 2 weeks ago? We did a recording, and the prices have changed kind of significantly.
I was just going there before he talks. They changed significantly within the last 2 days, quite a bit.
Yeah, I know.
Which is, it was Go ahead.
Well, also, so the thing is, at the end of the day, like. So there are like two factors, right? 2 factors I've come to determine that like what swings the prices of stuff is like availability and then playability, right? So the cards that have become like, as competitive decks have been out there, and there have been official not official turn, but there have been like some, I guess, like higher caliber tournaments have been out there, and I don't know about you guys, but the release weekend at all the big box stores for me was hot garbage. There was nothing to be had anywhere. It was madness. So therefore, the concept of just like availability is not out there. So the prices of everything has kind of like gone up.
I guess it depends on where you live because all my stores had plenty of price. So my local stores got a restock, and my big box stores got a restock. There's plenty. I don't even need it.
Okay, I guess let me be specific. There are plenty of starter decks out there and plenty of gift boxes out there.
No, like I had packs, I had troves, everything.
Like, could you go to Target right now and get some packs, do you think?
And troves?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to pay you to go to Target and get me some troves.
In Minnesota, it's totally the best place in Minnesota has been Barnes & Noble because they limited purchase to 2 per.
Oh, there's nothing there? Oh, okay. Yeah. I can help you out then.
Yeah, there's like nothing in town. It was madness.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I've got all. Not only did I have stores, but I had friends call me and go, "Hey, this store has all this stuff. Do you want it?" I'm like, "No, I'm good, my friend. Let's leave it for other people."
That's a good problem to have.
Good guy, Sugi.
It's a good problem to have. But
I'm just blessed. Like all of our stores, we have like 5 or 6 stores. Everybody got plenty of Lorcana, and then they, like I said, they just got a restock Friday, and our like big box stores got product. So we've got more than enough pretty much everywhere.
That's all. Yeah, everyone. There are the couple shops in town that I got booster boxes, and I think they're charging like they're charging $300 a box. So I'm just like, hard pass. Have a great day.
So gross.
It just the one thing is like, all right. It's just they're like, oh, TCG player is like, it says market price is like $360, and I'm just like, all right, cool, I get it, whatever. Just one double check. But the Enchanteds are still great hit if you pull them. They're still pricey up there, looking at like a minimum of like 140. If you pull an Enchanted with that big silly Elsa, still holding strong at the market price of $490.
Yep.
Which is
everyone else has kind of shifted around though.
It has like ebbs and flows.
Because Mickey Sorcerer was 300, 330. Now he's at 280.
The Tinkerbell,
went way up. She was 130. Now she's 200.
Yeah, the Tinkerbell.
Stitch went up. He was floating around that 150 mark. Now he's at 200.
So it's like
poor Aurora. She tanked. She
did.
She's 170. Simba went up. Well, he's been floating around that 150, 160.
This is true. Simba stayed about the same. Maui's about the same. The Green Mickey
at $20. Green Mickey, D&D Mickey went up about $20.
But nothing significant. Like if you want to talk like where's
Legendaries had a huge shift since last time.
Legendaries had a massive.
Here's a fun one. Like I mean, that's what. Yeah.
Right, the playable legendary. But here's a crazy one. Like,
which one
so Brave Little Tailor, like sitting at $35. The Tinkerbell is
no. I want to talk about Rapunzel. She went up almost $10. So last time we talked, she was 50, and then while we were recording, she dropped to like 48.
Yes.
Now she's 58.
Yep. Just and like just because here's the thing, right? It's like in the Amber set, you only have 2 draw cards.
Yeah.
You have her and you have So like if decks are going to be building, they're going to need 4 copies of her. And you know what the thing what they talked about? Remember I said when you have cards that are hard to pull that become playable, what happens to the price of that card?
Goes up.
Yep. Yes. I said that before the set even came out. So when you start having legendaries that you can get anywhere between like 3 to 5 or 6 a box, but doesn't mean you're pulling the ones you need or the playable ones.
Yeah. Dragon Maleficent went up to 50. Wasn't she at like 38, 40 when we last talked?
She was one of like but now you have, and obviously, and the top decks though, Sue, I guess I wouldn't say maybe the top 4 colors, or I guess maybe the top 4 more, like you have Amber with the Rapunzel, Elsa with the Amethyst, Belle with the Sapphire Ramp, and then you have the big scary Maleficent for Ruby for removal.
I think it's safe to say that the prices have gone up, especially since the big box release yesterday. So, which I thought it would be the opposite. I thought the prices would go down.
Well,
you got to give it time. So, like normally, what happens?
There's a reason for that.
Yes. So, like you have to. It's usually that first 30 days of the release. So, like say this game.
No, it's not that. Did you see the news post that Ravensburger put out?
They're
gonna print it to the ground in 2024.
Well. So here's the thing: we didn't know what the game plan for set 1 was after big box release. It was kind of nebulous.
Yeah.
So Ravensburger on social media made a statement saying, "Hey, there's going to be a second wave in October
on his way."
Yeah. Then they're going to print a booty load of set 1 in 2024.
Correct.
So the moment they posted that, I watched a lot of cards go up by a couple dollars because people are like, "Hey, if you don't get product this weekend right now from big box stores and local game stores, you have to wait another month."
Right.
1 month and then end of the year.
Yeah, or even longer.
You got it. And the funny part, and not
shot the prices up,
right? And not to like, I'm not trying to like control the market or whatever, but like, it's always interesting to see that when they say that they're going to reprint early next year, what that really means, right? Because by that point, another set's going to be coming out. So are they really going to be printing the same amount that they, No. In reality, they won't. And then the question becomes: are they going to saran wrap them? Are they going to be like?
They have to change.
That's what I'm saying. Like I know that they will. I truly believe that they will not like do shadowless, or they won't do for different marking.
Yeah, there'll be no difference. You'll just have boxes that'll be probably changed in the box design, and then you'll have the OG box designs, which no one will want the OG. I mean,
so the question becomes: are those going to be valuable because of the OG boxes, and then people are going to claim that like
no, it could be the exact same box.
I don't know. I think they may listen to the concerns that they may saran wrap them. They should.
They have to change the box design.
The box design is terrible.
Too much controversy about being able to access the entire box without actually breaking it open.
Videos that people can do easily.
But no, I've seen the videos. But staying on topic with the singles, I think Greg had an interesting point about Europe, because if you look, like for example, if you look at one card in the Americas and one card in Europe, there's a pretty significant difference. And I'll pass it over to Greg so you can bring that up here, man.
Yeah, of course. So essentially Card Market now has Lorcana singles up there. And of course, as we know, Card Market, if we're living in America, it's going to be hard to get access to these cards. But yeah, there are pretty significant price differences when comparing the American versus Europe markets. Typically, Europe is going to be a lot lower in terms of price, but you kind of have to sift through and check for the English copies because I know a lot of German copies are sitting on the Card Market website as well. But yeah, no, it's just super interesting to see kind of what that's sitting at and kind of what causes this sort of stuff. Is the game, does it have significantly less demand in Europe because Disney's more popular than the United States? Those kind of questions. But yeah, aside from that, maybe if you have a buddy in Europe that could, help forward some cards to you, that's not a bad place to be checking for your prices as well. Especially try to get yourself some good deals on cards if you're trying to finish out some decks.
Do you think you'll be allowed to use foreign language cards in tournaments?
I don't think so, but there is still plenty of English copies on Card Market as well. So that's, I think, really what we'd be fishing for.
I'm taking the other side on that comment. I think you will be able to use different languages.
You probably will be able to. We don't have an official word.
You should be able
but
to.
Look at Tinkerbell, the super rare. Tinkerbell Giant Fairy is like $32 in the Americas. She's like $10 to $12 on Card Market.
Well, can they ship it to the States?
Well, the shipping.
Yes.
No, you gotta find a forwarder.
You gotta pay for it.
Because the shipping's going to be bad, right?
But yeah, the shipping is what's going to get you. But I mean, like the price of, some of these cards is astronomically lower than what the American price point is. It is weird. I thought Greg had a great point because it's not like, oh, they're like $2 cheaper. It's like they're like $20 cheaper in some instances. Like, wow.
Exactly.
That's kind of nutty. Well, what's really interesting is once you get past the top like 20 cards. So let's see. The moment you get to Let It Go, it's like $7. Robin Hood, $5. Aladdin, super rare, $5. Fishbone Quill, $5.
Are they chances different? $5. Are the Enchanted cheaper? It might be worth getting a Enchanted.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Enchanteds are cheaper, not by much, but they are cheaper. So Elsa, Spirit of Winter is $350, and then here she's almost $500. Belle, Strange with Special is $200. Tinkerbell Giant Fairy is $190, so that's equivalent. Mickey Mouse Wayward Sorcerer is €160, and he's $280 America. So there's a difference, but you've got your hot cards like Giant Fairy, Legendary Hades, Cusco, Whole New World, Lilo, Stitch Rockstar, Be Prepared, Rare Maui, Ursula's 16, Carefree Surfer is 12, Maleficent is 10. Ariel, the singer, is 10. Super Rare Queen is 10. Legendary John Silver is 10. Hans is 10. And then it starts dropping off to, again, Let It Go is 8. Super Rare Robin Hood, 6. Super Rare Aladdin, 5. Yada, yada, yada. So unless you're shooting for the top 15, 20 cards, everything else kind of dips off pretty low. Now, unfortunately, those top cards are like staples in certain decks. So we'll talk about the Rockstar Stitch deck. You need 4 Stitches, so that's $80 there. And you need 4 Lilos, that's $80 there. Yeah. So, that's $160 for 8 cards. But the rest of the deck is like,
I will just say, I love that a one cost card is like $20. I just love that. I know that doesn't matter much, but I think that's cute.
Yeah. Hilariously, Lilo and Stitch together are the combo. So it's interesting because it's very perspective based. So coming from Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic, your standard deck is between $400 to $700. So if you told me, hey, Lorcana, you can build a competitive deck for, if you build an aggro deck, I think you're looking at maybe $250, $300. Okay, that's pretty cheap compared to the current market. And then, but if you look at the Ruby Amethyst, now that has 4 copies of the most expensive cards because you've got 4 copies of the Legendary.
Yeah, I think it was like a $400 deck or something.
It's like $400 or $500, but still, that's cheaper than the average Magic deck. Or
when you talk about that, the problem with that is that there's actual real. Not that I'm personally, again, I think this game's great for kids. Hope they get in the first TCG. Hope there's not really big tournaments. That's my perspective. But when you compare that our scene or our play scene to Magic, it's nowhere near the same, right? Like your expected value of
No.
going to, it's not even there because there's not going to be big tournaments for the first year, official tournaments.
Well, okay, yeah. So it's just interesting because like if this is your first TCG ever, those price points can be a sticker
scare you
shock.
away
Like
for sure.
that's a lot of money. But if you're a trading card game veteran,
Nothing.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I can build a competitive deck for $300 to $500. Sure, that's like in Magic, some of your lands cost like $20 to $30.
But where are you competing is my question. Like that's like what do you why? Yeah, that's a good question. Like, I mean, that's my question I have is like why? Like that's where I open a lot of product up, so I got most of what I want already. But like, it's really holding me back from buying my last copy of Elsa's. What is it, Winter Spirit? Because like,
yeah,
do I need her? If there's no competition, I'm really worried about, right?
So that's
a harder sell.
Yeah, that's the question. So like right now, the most competitive things that are happening are unofficial fan-made events, which so far have been like 1Ks and 5Ks. So that doesn't mean you win $1,000. That means the top end prize pool is $1,000 or $5,000 split amongst multiple people. But the problem is like the Tennessee 1K, the top 4 players split.
Which is very common.
So
it's very common in these games.
That's like split. It's super common. But like the top prize, I think first place was like 400, second place was 200. I don't know if there's anything else much past that in terms of like, I think there were like packs. So like splitting $600 between 4 people is like what, $150 a person. I can't even drive from my house to that location for that price.
And you got to pay taxes on it still. Remember that? Government watching. Always watching.
Yeah. Like you got to pay for, the drive, you got to pay for lodging, you got to pay for food, you got to pay the entry fee. So like I can't, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to make any money. The 5K.
Skiff, you might be going to one of these coming up. What's your thought about this?
It's just people wanting to play the game, right? Like just like game comes out, people want tournaments, and if like Ravensburger said, nothing for what, like the first year, right? Or like maybe next summer.
Maybe we don't know.
We don't know, but like that's the thing is like
they said nothing for the first year, right? That's what I remember us reporting on.
Well, is it calendar year or
right?
Is
that's
it
what I was like. Is it like a financial year? When does their business year end?
Okay. Well, because they could say, hey, we're not doing anything obviously in 2023, but like maybe in January of 2024, hey, we're actually going to have like a circuit event. Like, okay, cool. So that we don't know what a year.
I took it to mean. I'm guessing again. My thought. What I heard that initially was like Gen Con next year would be maybe when they kick off their official Rest Play.
I would hope it's before then. That's a lot.
I would also hope
but fourth set is out.
Before that'd be the fourth set.
That's what a year is. They want to do four sets a year.
Yeah.
I also
the fourth set would drop at Gen Con.
They could do stuff with.
This is a future topic, but I'll just throw it here really fast. Nobody needs to comment on necessarily, but I also hope they have a kids league like Pokemon. So I hope that is also part of their official Rest Play. But go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So Skiff, are you going to You're going to a 5K?
I've been tempted. People talking to me like, yeah, if you should come down. There's the tournament in Tennessee that they're like, you should come down for it. I'm just like, no.
You're the only 10 I see.
It was very
easy, huh?
Boom. The trick is like I don't have to pay for any hotels or anything like that. So it's just like I'll stay with them.
Play some Disney card game.
Yeah, I gotta go play this.
Who would you bring if you went down? What do you go to bring?
No idea, dude. It's like there's like 4 decks, and basically you just play them a bunch until 2 days before, and then you make your decision probably the day before, and then you just run with it, and maybe change your mind that morning. We'll see. Usually how it goes.
Well, you gotta let us know if you actually end up going. Is that when is that 5K?
But that's the thing though, right? Like people, like the game's out. People want to play. They're competitive players that want to play tournaments. So that like shops, like if you make a card game, people will show up. Like if you build it, they will come, right? If you build the tournament, they will show up.
Yeah, especially when we know there isn't huge official capacity events like
exactly.
this.
So
yeah, it is interesting, and also to be completely honest, a little bit disheartening to a certain extent that we're like some of these metas seem to be maybe like lost to time. There's not going to be like these huge official events where it like picks up on like set 4, set 5. But yeah, aside from that, I'm glad that we can enjoy the game to the highest extent we can, even if it's just more like casual league environment stuff.
Right.
Yeah, it's always dependent on the players and what they want, because there's already events announcing like, hey, prizing, you get cases and boxes. And I'm like, bro, I have like an entire set. I don't want more cards.
Well, so not everyone as lucky as you in the level middle of nowhere that gets everything.
I know, it's great.
A lot of people don't have access to that situation, my friend.
I know, but here's the thing. If you have enough to get one of these top decks, do you really want like 2 more boxes or cases of product? Like, I don't know.
Well, it's not. Maybe it's not the product.
To,
maybe it's a competition. Maybe they want to. Maybe it's a level of competition they want to play against.
Because, like, you crack all that stuff open. What if you get nothing? That would be horrid.
Yeah, well, I mean, they always sometimes they'll probably try to sell
if you already have your major decks.
They're not going to crack it open if they already have everything.
There's so many different reasons to do it and not to do it. I'm just more interested in like the official Ravensburger like Disney swag. Like the OP stuff is really cool. Yeah, so I'm really excited to see promos. The pins are awesome. If you haven't seen them in real life, they're gorgeous.
Lord Tracker's not bad. I like Lord Tracker.
So that's what I would love to see next year is like official, kind of like Gen Con, like have some play mats, have some pins, have some
Lorcana puzzle,
acrylic tokens. That would be awesome.
FFG used to do a really good job with that kind of stuff back in the day. I mean, sometimes it was really good.
Yeah, do official swag you cannot buy. Because I'll go to an event for that, but like, that's what drives me.
I didn't listen to it. I'll admit I missed last episode because I was taking a break. Did you talk about your playmat, Sugi?
We talked a little bit about it. Like I love that mat. It's a fond memory. I will always be thankful for the time I got to meet you guys, and I got to meet so many other people.
We've known each other for years, Sugi.
Play games. I know we've known each other for years. I haven't seen you in a while, my man.
Did you forget about me, brother? Did you forget that?
Yeah,
you did, Chris.
I got to meet you. What are you talking about?
Chris, yeah, you met Sugi for the first time there, right?
Well, okay, at Gen Con, the first Gen Con I've ever been to. Woohoo! Pop, 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 pop. But that's kind of the cool thing about Lorcana. Everybody has something they want, and it seems like there are multiple events available. So, like, if you want money, there's money. There's, if you want product, there's product. If you're waiting, like me, for exclusive stuff, like, it's coming. We just have to wait for Ravensburger to announce it. But there should be something for everyone, and that's really cool. I like that a lot. Also, we have yet to find a like format breaking or defining deck that wins everything. We found some decks that are popular.
This is true.
We've also had a lot of people admit, like a lot of people are super high on the Ruby Ruby Amethyst, but a lot of people have already said it has a really bad matchup against aggro and mid-range, and people are already starting to build aggro and mid-range counters. So like in a month, that deck is probably going to be on the way out, and something else is on the way in.
Yeah, I think the real test of time is just if we continue to see this happen with set 2 and beyond, because as we know, Lorcana's been in development, I think, for around 3 years. That's been said in interviews. So for this set to be pretty well balanced, I think is pretty par for the course. Not to say that it was like expected in any capacity, but it's like, all right, 3 years of development time makes sense that this set is pretty well balanced. But I think the real test is going to be if they can kind of keep the balance up in future sets, because that's where the deadlines or like the crunch for designing these cards becomes less.
I would just also say, like, I mean, it's really with a card of like a set of 204 cards, it's really hard to have like a paper rock scissors like meta going on. I think we should be proud of that, because that's pretty much what you need to ask for in like such a small set, is like having 3 decks, or 3 metas, three basic types of decks that can compete together for the top decks, right?
I would argue there's 5 at the minimum.
Types of decks?
Yeah.
So rush, control, mid-range, with the other 2.
Ramp.
I mean, okay. I think that's kind of
the type of control.
And then evasive.
Well, it's an engine. Ramp is its own engine, so
evasive decks can crush half
evasive.
So is that okay? Okay, there you go.
So you have evasive, control, aggro, mid-range, and then
ramp.
Like ramp. So you could have like item ramp, you could have big body ramp, any kind of ramp properties. You could even do like evasive ramp. There's a really good mixture of rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock with those 5 archetypes.
That's copyrighted,
not wrong.
man.
He's not wrong.
Is that copyrighted?
Oh yeah, that's not even Disney. You said Spock.
No, but you remember Big Bang Theory?
I know what it is.
And finally, the rock crushes the scissors.
Wow, man, I'm getting railroaded here. I can't believe it. I'm losing to a rug.
Par for the course.
Where does the aerial like tinker deck? Oh, that's combo, I guess.
Tinkerbell is probably the most
the aerial like
There is combo.
Yeah.
There's combo. It's not figured out yet. I think there will be a combo deck eventually, but the thing I'm worried about is because combo is so complicated.
Yeah.
By the time it kind of gets figured out, set
Right.
2 is already going to be like
It'll change everything. It'll change
So it's
when
like-
set 2 drops. Everything
Yeah.
changes.
So my gut says that combo will probably show up after set 2 hits because there's not enough consistency or combo pieces to have like a actual like legit combo deck. Like there's combo aerial OTK, and if you draw the
Yeah.
nuts, you
That
can
is so
fun.
silly.
yeah, you can go from 0 to 20 and on I think turn
Right.
7. But
Crab raving.
you literally have to draw like the most nuts hand and top deck everything. So like I
It's
don't
hard to
consider
do.
that a
Hard to
consistent deck because it's like 1 in every 20 games you get that off maybe, and that's
So it's
just not enough to
consistent.
do
Yeah, it's
anything.
not-
Yeah,
it's
like
fun. It's fun. but it's not-
casually it's fun, but if you're a competitive player, like do not build that deck. Don't
Yeah,
do
you'd
it.
be better just racing lore every single turn with like low end creatures.
It's true.
Yeah, play a starter deck. You probably have a better chance
Yeah.
of winning with a starter deck,
Oh,
honestly.
jeez.
True. He's not wrong.
However, another thing I want us to get more into over time that I don't think a lot of people are covering right now is multiplayer decks, because we've do like every single league I go to locally, we'll do our, like 3-4 games, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But then when we're done, we'll just, group up into groups of 4 and 5 and play multiplayer. And I've
That was
had
so
so much
fun,
fun
yeah.
bringing like the dumbest decks in the world that are god awful in 1v1. Like you don't play them in 1v1, but in multiplayer, aerial OTK wombo combo is so good because you just don't do anything and build up this weird board, and then you play the aerial and everyone's like, no, and you're like, okay, all right, here we go. Let's
Time to
do
get
it,
this party started.
Yeah, you basically play the aerial. It's like, all right, if you cannot get rid of her, I'm going to win next turn. Everyone's like, what do we do? It's like, I don't know.
I will echo that multiplayer is extremely fun. That was probably the highlight of our Gen Con trip, was like us playing multiplayer with those other guys.
You tried to stop me every single time, you monster.
That's awesome.
We
I
had a-
approve.
Chris was like, as long as Sugi doesn't win,
Well,
I'm
yeah,
happy. And
that's,
I
that's
never
clear.
I can hear Chris saying that right now in my brain with such joy.
You mean I can make it so somebody else wins besides Sugi? Yeah, I'm doing that.
Oh Lord.
That's
Yeah, we
hilarious.
played like what did we
Yeah,
play?
it's,
3 or
I mean,
4 games with
just
the
every
rest
card being
of the
formatted
guys.
for. We didn't
It was
we were just playing with the normal decks. We wouldn't even have formatted multiplayer decks, but it was just so fun to like sit around and
yeah,
it
we threw a couple cards in from our
Mhm.
our packs because with Gen Con we didn't really have too much, but oh Lord, it was so much fun. It was so
Yeah.
silly. It was great.
Yeah, and like really, I think one of the biggest things, and I'm sure many of you have probably heard of this before, but compare that to the most obvious comparison, Commander, where it's like if you literally are out of the
Right.
game and like you lose all your health, you're
Yep.
just sitting there
Oh yeah, yeah.
for however
brutal.
long it is for everyone
Yeah.
else to wrap
They
up. But
fixed that multiplayer
Mhm.
problem for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
due to the way that Lorcana's designed, it's first to 20, and then you can just shuffle
Everyone-
up and play another
Everyone's in it.
game.
Yep, everyone's in it until somebody wins. If somebody wins, then everybody
obviously
loses.
it's Kingmaker-ish, which is all these formats are going to be Kingmaker-ish, which is like, but I think the fact that every card is formatted for it, the fact that it's Disney, I mean, and a lot of this is based on the group of people you play with, but like it lends itself to be a fun experience in my opinion. I had a blast, and then I want to play more multiplayer. I want to actually get like something going regularly where we sit around and play multiplayer.
There are
blast.
here's another couple formats people should try. So we did this at Gen Con, and I've done this at my locals. 2v2, so two-headed giant.
Two-headed giant.
40
You
lore,
play for
30
30
lore?
lore. 30. So it's 20 base, and then for every person you add to the team, you
Sure.
add 10. So you can do 2v2. You can also do 3v3. That is super duper fun because that's when you can start having one of your players build like a support kind of utility deck and just do dumb stuff. So like I was the player who built the utility deck, and I had like Eye of Fates, every card that had support. I had a bunch of healing effects. I had all this like random stuff to keep my like teammates alive. And then I put in steel to help kind of poke and remove. it was fun because, all my characters are weak and flimsy, but, I have fates. Hey, your character over there gets +1 lore, and I quest with my Philatides, who's a 3/1 support. So your Gaston
Add 3 things to
your
the exactly.
Gaston is a 7/2 missile. Have fun, y'all. I was like, wait, what? Yeah.
To kind of add on to it, I think 3v3 is especially interesting because you have the opportunity to play every ink color in the game. So that could be like an interesting like restriction or like fun way to explore like every ink color, that sort of way. You can have it all sitting at one table at the same time.
Yeah, it's so much fun. It's ridiculous. Like, I won't lie, I'm having more fun playing multiplayer than single player because all the just goofy things you can do.
Mm-hmm. Single player feels really telegraphed at the moment, where it's like you know that feeling when like 2 turns out of the game, you know how the game's going to end just by counting. Like you're just like, all right, well, I'm not a mathematician, but you got X amount of lore on board, and I can't. Like, there's only so much removal in this game.
That's the thing, right? Like, what you're like. The first 3 turns are pretty like. Are pretty basic. For like, well, turn 1, I'll play a card. Then turn 2, I guess I'll play another card. And then turn 3, I could play 2 cards, but I'll probably just play the 1. And then you know what deck they're running and how they're going to run it. You know what I mean? Like you understand. Like there's. I'm sure there's surprises out there, but there are far less surprises. Like once you see the first 3 turns of someone's turn. But
in multiplayer, oh man, throw that out the window. You don't know what to expect.
No, you know someone's gonna just play. I'm gonna play a whole new world every single.
Yep.
I'll play 4 of them.
Yep. Well, no. You play an infinite amount of them because you use your magic brooms to keep putting them back in the deck.
Yes. You play an infinite amount of them. Yes.
To filter and keep getting into them. I mean, there's all kinds of cards that are, arguably kind of bad in single player.
Yes, but they're cards in good multiplayer.
Really good.
Yep.
Like, you have forgotten me. Each opponent discards 2 cards. Like, get out of here. Get out of here, y'all.
I figured you just do that. You just play 4 of those, and you play 4 whole new worlds, and say good luck drawing anything.
Here's a fun one. I don't know if anyone knows this, but this is a nice combo. So there's a Emerald 4-cost Tinkerbell, most helpful, 2/3 with evasive, 2 pips of lore. She has an ability called Pixie Dust. When you play this character, chosen character gains evasive this turn. You can do that on an opponent's bodyguard. And if you don't have evasive, you can swing past their bodyguard because you can't challenge them because they have evasive this turn.
That's fun. Does bodyguard say challenge if able?
Yes, it does. So here, I've got Goofy, the musketeer. Bodyguard, here's the reminder text. This character may interplay exerted. An opposing character who challenges one of your characters must choose one with bodyguard if able. And if you have evasive, you're not able to challenge it. Dun, dun, dun.
Fascinating.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
It is.
So we found out with things like Fan the Flames and LeFou, you can unexert a character with bodyguard and get past them that way.
LeFou, for a 2-drop, gets past a little Simba.
Right.
Very good.
But you can also use that Tinkerbell with most helpful to give someone's bodyguard evasive, and it's like, hey, all my characters don't have evasive, so and that is super fun to watch in multiplayer because someone's like, oh, I'm like me, I'm hiding my Mother Gothel behind this bodyguard. That's why I always have 2, so someone can't do that to me. And they're like, well, I've got bodyguard. It's like, cool, that bodyguard is evasive. What? I'm going to challenge Mother Gothel directly. You can't do that. Yeah, I can't.
Congratulations on your flying bodyguard.
Yeah, we would just imagine like you start, spreading the pixie dust and starts like floating like butt first, like the characters in Peter Pan when they first start flying. They're like, "How does this work?" You're like, "No." You see, like,
no idea.
I know there's no perfect.
Yeah, think of a wonderful.
There's no perfect answer to this, but I will say hearing Swiggy talks makes me think again. I really want comp rules. Again, comprehensive rules aren't going to like. I mean, people are still going to like interpret rules the way they want to interpret them, whatever. But like, for example, today, and again, I just try to be helpful in my local groups. There was a question about, can I attack with a princess, take damage equal to her willpower, but then play Moana to heal? And I'm like, no, the character gets banished immediately after they take damage equal to their willpower. There's no stat. Basically what they're saying is like, can I take the damage, then heal it off before they go to the discard? It's like, no, that doesn't work that way. But there's nothing in the starter rules that will explain, you know what I'm saying? Except for reading.
I think it does say the moment you take damage equal to or greater than your willpower,
it does say
you're
that,
banished.
and I explain that to them. But again, they're like, well, what if there's a stack? I said, well, the rules don't say there's a stack, so there's no stack. You know, like so. I mean, you can't add in things from other games just because you want to. But then we get into like, so you're. I'm not saying that. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no perfect solution, but at least if when we have comp rules, you're like, okay, there's comp rules are out, and there's no word. The word stack is not in there. Like like you can't you do Control F and see if it says there might actually be stack in the comp rules because.
The funniest part is that, like, even if there was a stack, that would still not work.
Pretty much no card game does that work. But
yeah. All right, your character is taking more damage than itself. Now you get to save it. Wow.
Maybe you play freeze. Yeah, you play freeze. And you're like, all right, instead of freezing the opponent's character, we'll freeze time for a second.
Right, It is funny, though. I actually had the exact same thing happen at my local. Someone took lethal damage in a
not
challenge,
lethal. This is Disney, not lethal.
Or, okay, they took damage that
their
surpassed
their
willpower. And then they attempted to play Healing Glow to heal 2. And I was like, unfortunately, there's no stack. So everything resolves, and then you get to take another action. So once the damage has been dealt, then the resolution of the game checks to see, does this character have, greater or less than willpower, yada yada. So like we took the attack back, but yeah, they also thought there was a window in the game structure where they could play a healing ability. Because they had that and they had a Dingle Hopper out. So they were like, well, I'm going to use Dingle Hopper and Healing Glow to remove 3 damage before I go to the discard pile. I'm like, no.
So again, be patient with your locals. Like I think again, there's a lot of people not playing this for the first time. And even not playing it for the first time, it's just like, card games, people have different interpretations of the rules, right? So you just got to come, be kind about it, especially if they're younger people and, do the best you can to tell them what the rules is your group understands them, right? You have to have a standard set of rules, right? So it's nice to have that person, the OP person, if they're not, even if they're playing, it's like somebody to make those kind of calls, right? Because you got to have somebody that to just say, no, we're not doing that. We're not playing, kitchen table Lorcana where you're going to be able to heal your guy that has 0 has their damage equal to their willpower, right?
Right. And never be afraid to ask, like if your TO or local event organizer doesn't know, ask around the room, hey, does anyone know how this works? 2 heads are better than 1, 3 heads are better than 1. Someone in the room should know. Worst comes to worst, hit up Twitter. There's a bajillion really qualified players. You can tag us, tag LorcanaCast and go, hey, this is what happened. What's the ruling? We can answer it. There's a lot of people who are knowledgeable about the game who can help out locally.
And it's also, a common, year-long way to resolve this is roll a die, right? Like, so like if you want to just move on and you guys are agreeing, then we just decide to roll about it, right? And then that's the ruling for that game. And that's a great way to resolve it too, just to keep things moving. And like, if you're cool with it, if you guys can't reach an agreement about seeing the same thing the same way, roll off, high roll gets to call it for that game, right? And then later on, you can figure out what the real ruling was.
Yeah. I'm gonna start going, I was right about that,
right? We rolled that wrong, but you had the high roll, so there you go.
Yeah, the classic card game staple of after the game ends, you look at the top cards of your deck and you explain how you would have won if there was like 3 extra cards.
I was about to beat you. I'm sure you were. Yeah, I'm sure you were.
Yeah, I'll get you next week. Yeah. I'm sure you will. Okay. All right. We'll see you next week. All right. Well, then let's talk about our last thing before we get on out of here, and let's have some fun. What is a card or combo of cards you guys have seen that you think people might be sleeping on, that might be underrated, that might see some more interaction and more play as the meta develops, as more people get cards? I think a big thing about the current meta is not everyone has cards. It's very limited amount of product. So over this weekend, that has significantly changed. So now that more people are playing and more people have access to the cards they want for the decks they want, what do you think we're going to see come out? And this could be for single player or multiplayer, because I think there's a lot of cards that we might have looked at and said, I don't know about this. That's now like, well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I guess I'll start off with this one. I think one of my favorite cards in the game right now is the 7-drop Legendary Hades. Not only because it's a pretty good card, but also because I think the text itself is hilarious, because the ability's name is there a downside to this?
Yeah.
And it's putting an opposing character into their inkwell. Of course, the answer typically is no, just even based on its own text. Of course, you're giving your opponent an ink, but I would love there to be design space in the future for like, I don't know, maybe like another Hades card in kind of the Dreamborn scenario that like gets strength or like lore based on the like a multiplier based on the opponent's ink. So you can definitively answer that question where it's like, no, there is no downside to this. You're winning the game.
So the opposite of Bell, where like, you know, if your opponent's at like 10 lore, like something, you get a good effect on your side.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's a cool ability. I like that a lot. To get
ink.
strength equal to ink. Yeah. Wow, that's kind of nasty. I like it.
I mean, it's not new, so I'm not answering your question, Sugi. I think the cards like Big Tink, Tinkerbell, Giant Fury are just real good. Obviously, like just the ability to come in and catch up. Like if you're already behind, you know, clear the board off, get some nasty high lore pip units off the board is one of the ways to turn a corner in the game, right? And you need certain mechanics. If you're behind, you need something to catch up. So I think even with these rush decks, you have to have some kind of plan about what you're going to do if they're just questing faster than you, right? You need a turning point, and so Big Tink does that.
Sure.
Put to the Sword does that. I mean, we're talking about steel cards, but you just got to find those cards that do that, give you that out to get back in the game.
But what's like an underrated card you've seen that you think is going to see more play? Like that's an easy one, bro. Come on.
I mean, I like Stitch Rockstar. There's people like that. I don't know.
Oh no, man, Chris, Mr. Meta over
Is that meta?
here.
I don't know. Like, what's the underrated?
Yeah, Mr. McMeta.
Yes,
I'm going to get you.
That is very on par to play in
every
every
card you
deck.
mentioned is meta, my man.
Like, I mean, they're all meta.
I'm gonna go with a card that
I'll say he. Fine, he's busted.
Who is he?
Hey.
No,
it's not.
it's not. Yes, you're wrong. I object.
Oh no. His name is Hey. He's the
I
chicken
object.
man.
May I approach the bench?
I'm gonna keep saying it now, even though it's wrong.
Your hee-hees and the
Yeah, thank you.
Moanas. And the Maui.
I know now.
You got that southern name. I'm gonna play my hey over here with the Maui and the Moana.
The Moanas.
You got that Lefou.
Okay, I'll try to find an underrated card. Go ahead, Skiff.
They're bad.
Hilarious. So a card that I feel is really, really, really good, but just can't really get any love right now in like the competitive play is the Aladdin.
Which one?
Which
The
one?
the 7 cost shift.
Oh, whatever.
Aladdin.
He's busted. What are you talking?
Well, so the problem is he only has 5.
Yeah.
And like it goes away. So you're paying so much for like the trick is there's got to be a card out there or something out there when it comes to that. Like I just feel like there's got to be a way to keep him alive longer so it can actually like compound.
You ready him up?
Yes,
shield.
like we only have the shield. So other than that, like it just feels like the ability is such a swingy, like such a comeback ability where like I wish there's something like maybe set 2, something will come out where you're just like, okay, now this character with only 5 can stay alive a lot longer. Like I feel the card is like the ability, like the 2/2 is so good that it's just something I think will. Right now, it's not good, but I think it can get.
And it's
better.
and it's also like, I mean, again, those cards with shift with those powerful abilities are so important. Like being able to come in and challenge right away with him makes him
right.
I don't know, like infinitely better than having to play him hard cast him, right?
And like, who says there couldn't be an item card out there that says that like you don't need, like you can play the character for the shift cost without actually having the need to play the other character. Like in Pokemon, you had the card that like the broken time space where you can like all evolve all immediately.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Why couldn't there be some item card that says exhaust and you can play a character from your hand without having the? So then you can just build like an entire shift. Like that's the thing is like there are cards that are useless now. Doesn't mean like there are more cards coming out that'll take advantage of those abilities.
Yeah, well, one issue that also faces Aladdin is that, of course, the 7-drop as well could use some support, but the base forms of Aladdin are like hilariously not great because according to Ravensburger's stats, according to the design team. Street Rat's ability is worth drawing one card if you compare it directly to Maleficent, who has the same stat line. So it's
No.
I don't
the
see these
Emerald
as
Ward is
comparable.
great. You can't be touched. He just sits there safe.
Yeah, he's fine. I mean, he's also not great in terms of stats, but
not
yeah,
great.
Street Rat in the Ruby deck specifically, he can have a better base for him for sure.
Like if like I'm only playing those Aladdins because I have to play them.
Yep.
No, like, okay, that Aladdin is the safest Aladdin you'll ever play in Emerald. Your opponent can't do anything to him.
Yeah, why would they want to? It doesn't.
But you
do
also, I
anything.
mean,
No, but none of the other shift characters have
Right.
that protection. Every character you play has a target on their back that can easily be taken out with the right tool. That Emerald Aladdin, unless for some reason you quest with him, and you shouldn't. The opponent can't stop the shift. It's basically guaranteed.
Unfortunately, it also forces you into Emerald, where Aladdin typically.
well, I think Siggy's point was a point I wanted to bring too. That like actually not.
Oh yeah. You have to play. You have to. Like, you'd rather play a different color with that 7 cost. Like you'd rather play a different color than Emerald. Maybe if you're playing that style of Aladdin, right?
But not using your shift, like protecting your shift character to get the big boy out to do what they need to do is really important, right? And on the inverse side, be able to, if somebody's going to quest with a cheap Aladdin, fine, take advantage of that, right? Because or a cheap Tink, like I thought, like today I was like, well, I don't even want to quest, I don't want to do anything with my Tink because I need the big Tink to come out and do damage to actually help me get back in this game, right? So I think that's a really important thing to remember is like getting that, I don't know what you call that, but that time jump or the unsummoning sickness effect is really, really powerful in this game.
Well, they're not dried yet, right?
Yeah, it's essentially the same as like Flash
Right.
in Magic. This is the one part of Lorcana where you can shift a card and use them immediately. So your opponent has to play around that and respect it. Because everything else in Lorcana is very you go, I go. I do a thing, it resolves. You do a thing, it resolves. Shift is I do a thing and I get to use it before you have a chance to do anything.
I'm really looking forward to when
Powerful.
there's multiple potential shifts that are like both like viable, and so like then it becomes like a game of mind games where it's like, all right, which one do they have? Like, which one am I really trying to play around? You know?
Well,
I think
also
that'll be a fun deck.
the shift is a cool mechanic because they can add another quote unquote evolution, basically a stage 3.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Pokemon.
they can. Yep. Yeah,
So-
shifting is like evolution in Pokemon. It's very cool.
So that's the cool part where like you're like, oh, cool. What happens now? So like it gets to the point where like, oh, like they can kind of, in essence, like if they want to increase the cost of cards, it does like there's another shift. Like there's a shift Aladdin now that says like shift. I don't know. It costs 12, shift 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd imagine those cards could get very silly very fast.
Oh, 100%. Like there's a projection out, right? Like how much shifting do they want to do, right?
I hope they do more because we've already gotten multiple like baby forms, like stage or basics.
Yep.
So it'd be nice. It'd be nice if they inversed it, where you've got a bunch of baby forms, and currently you only have like one stage 1. But give us like multiple stage 1s, or like another stage 1 and a stage 2, where you can shift to A or B, and your opponent has to worry about that. And then maybe another bigger version that you can shift up from stage 1. It's like, oh my goodness!
I just want them to print big Cheshire Cat.
Yes,
Quest for 4 and then shoots on 2 guys if he gets banished.
Kitty, please more cats. I love cats in the decks. All right, so my card I think that's underrated that will actually see some interesting play as things evolve is the rare Jasmine, Queen of Agrabah. She is a 5-cost, 2/5, 2 pips of lore. She has shift 3, so you can shift her on top of another character named Jasmine, which we have 1. And her ability is called Caretaker. When you play this character, and whenever she quests, you may remove up to 2 damage from each
really
of your
good.
characters. So she doesn't prioritize a type. She just comes onto the board and does a mass AoE heal. And when she quests, she can heal. I think we could see a bodyguard list, or we could see like some big bodies that just won't go down, because once they've taken a little bit of damage, you play the Jasmine and heal them, and then you can quest with her immediately if she shifts. So you could, in theory, on one turn, remove 4 damage from all of your characters, which is pretty significant.
Well, also, I bet there'll be characters coming out that can damage themselves in some sort of way, right? Like, exert character, deal damage to character, and then something happens.
Yeah.
You can do that, and then you have Belle now to heal those characters.
Yeah. Jasmine also, because she can shift, if you have 6 ink available, you can shift her number 1 onto the first Jasmine, heal 2, quest, heal another 2, and then shift the second one on top and heal another 2. So for 6 ink, you could AoE heal 6 damage off of everything, which there's not that many characters that have that much willpower.
Right.
But the fact that you can do it,
Yep.
like, that's kind of powerful if you think about it, because
I agree.
there are characters with 8 willpower and 9 willpower and 7. So if you played into those colors, you could just heal your entire board.
Yeah,
for
but also, and this is also the first set too, where I remember like first sets of like all the like the first kind of card games where hopefully the ramp is not too crazy, but it's going to be just like, all right, hey, now the willpower is going to be a little bit more intense, and like maybe characters will become stronger. Where we just looked at this concept of like, or the cost character, right? Where the most expensive card costs 9, maybe the next set most expensive card costs 12, and there'll be a willpower of like 10. You know what I mean? Like I think like it can gradually like go up over time.
Okay, I'm not going to give any explanation, but my broken character that's not seeing play right now is King Triton.
He's good. He's
Oh,
real.
does he have 9 or 9?
He's a 7/9, isn't he?
No, he's a
Nice
5/9. You're just gonna say things, Chris?
Oh, that's
gonna
right.
say
He's 5/9.
Okay, sounds good.
Refuses to elaborate.
All right, that makes sense.
I failed miserably the first few times. I'm just saying a random character.
Taka.
I like Triton a lot, but that's a good place to end up the show, talking
Blossom.
about a character with 0 explanation why.
Jackson.
So tune in next episode
Sergeant
where we'll
Tibbs.
force Chris to explain why he likes this 5/9 Triton with 2 pips of lore at 7 ink. So thank you
We
everybody
expect
for
a full
joining.
dissertation on this.
Yeah, right. Can you please
That's a-
elaborate
oh, wait,
on this
sorry.
next time? Oh no, he's playing it. No. Get out.
What?
Get down. All right, well, thank you everybody for listening or watching, depending on where you are. You can check out LorcanaCast on Twitter and Facebook at LorcanaCast. You can find us on YouTube at LorcanaHQ, and you can send us an email. All the information is in the show notes. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll see everybody next time. And remember, as always, Ohana means family, which means nobody gets left behind and nobody gets forgotten.
The sticky wheels always getting the grease. I'm so